So good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Friday classes. And in today's class, we are first going to discuss a core banking system. And inside the core banking system, a very critical functionality called the fund transfer mechanism. All of us at some point of time have always done a fund transfer to someone or the other. We, as a customer, we know that functionality, but what goes inside that functionality is something that we'll see as a business case study. Okay. Once we understand the process, each one of you are supposed to use the process analysis and the process modeling technique to actually map out the process, and suggest improvement areas in that particular process. Okay. So we will see an access and to-be flow. I will share a case study so that you can understand what exactly is the problem that we are solving. And remember, as many problems that you solve, better you get at business analysis. So that's the reason these practicals are very important, because that gives you enough fuel to present yourself in interviews and also solve the complex problems that they give you. So last class, we saw an airline reservation system, a different domain. Today, our domain is core banking system. Okay. Once I present the case study, once we do a process analysis, then we have Nimit and Taivu from our project bootcamp team who will be giving us a domain walkthrough. So they will tell us more about the banking domain, what are the different verticals, and what are the kind of services investment banks provide. Okay, and this will again be a good knowledge sharing and good learning experience for each one of you. So utilize this experience, ask as many questions as you want. Okay, so let's first get started. Okay, I'm going to share for all the people who are in Zoom with me, I'm going to share this this document, this case study that I have created, so that while I'm explaining, you can refer to the same document with you. You have the document. For people who are joining us from YouTube, I will be displaying the document on the screen so you can see what is the case study that I am speaking about and asking you to analyze. So I will explain the case study. Just give me a moment. Let me share it here for everyone. Mm. So here comes the document in the chat window. Download it so that you understand what we are going to talk about. And as you're downloading it, I'm going to walk you through this document. So pay attention to all the information that's coming your way. So here, in this document, we are going to map the money journey. Process mapping for a core banking system. Now, Swift Bank wants to improve its fund transfer process, domestic and international. So as I told you, as a customer, you must have done fund transfer n number of times. Let's see what happens behind the scenes today. Customers are constantly complaining about delays, failed transactions, and missing notifications. Instead of just analyzing these gaps, it is time for you to map out the process. Now, step one is given. Okay. Now, we are not going to split it into groups. We are going to do it together. But draw a swim lane diagram showing how a fund transfer currently works. This is based on our knowledge, okay? So I have given all the instructions you need to start with a process model diagram. You start off using actors like customer, your core banking system, payment gateway, compliance team, and customer support. Steps are also given here. I did not give you a very long document with a story so that we can complete the activity in time. Okay, these steps have to be laid out in a process flow diagram. So that's the task for today. Okay, and step 2, I will help you spot the issues. Okay, we will talk about the pain points, the customer pain points where things typically go wrong. And then we have to suggest an improved process. And the improved process will include some real-time validations, auto refund facilities, and all of that. We'll discuss that. But right now, our focus should be on step 1, where we are going to do a swim lane diagram. A swim lane diagram is also called the process model diagram or a cross-functional chart. Okay. So let's get started. I'm going to share a link to the tool which we will use to create this. Okay. Here we have the visual paradigm tool, which we are going to explore. Click on this link, guys, and create an account, free account on this website, Visual Paradigm. If you already have, no worries. You can log into that account. But process modeling, we are going to learn how to do it practically in the BA world. So it's important for you to have this tool in place. Okay. So let me quickly log into the tool. All of you who already have an account, just log into the tool. Yes, when you log into the tool, you'll get a dashboard like this. You will see a dashboard like this. Okay, here on the right-hand side, you are seeing a search bar, filter. There you can type cross. Cross gives you cross-functional flow chart. Okay, so bring up this cross-functional flow chart and click on the create button here. Okay. Once you click on the create button, you get a blank canvas like this. And this is a canvas that you're going to draw the process flow diagram. Everyone here so far, have you opened this canvas? Type yes in the chat box if you have opened it. Great, Tanya. Yes, now I want responses from each one of you. What do the actors are given in the document that I just shared? The actors are given. Tell me, how many lanes will you use in this process flow diagram?
How many?
How many swim lanes?
Swim lanes, swim lanes.
Swim.
Vignesh is saying 3. 3, is that correct? How many do we need to put? How many lanes do we need to have here? Look at the example steps that are given. That will give you a clue. And also the actors. The actors will give you a clue how much you need.
I think it should be 5, or because there are 5. One is customer, core banking system. But core banking system
Hmm.
is not in like actor type.
No, it is, right? It is because the the banking system validates the account. All that validation
Okay.
has to be done by the core banking system. The payment gateway will process the transfer.
Hmm.
Okay,
So in that case, so it should be 5.
So, but customer support, I'm very unclear about what the customer support will do here, because in the steps, support is not included in the steps. Then why do we need that?
Correct.
Interesting, isn't it?
Since
Little
3.
confusing document. So tell me, guys, how much would you
4.
include? 4, right? I think we'll go with 4.
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll go with 4 because we are very unclear what customer support is doing here, unless and until we get. See, these are the kind of documents you might receive from your customer. Unless and until you're very sure what a particular actor is going to do in the process, do not include him. Okay. When you get clarity from the customer, yes, you can go and update the same diagram.
Correct.
Okay, so let's bring up that slide once again. Okay, here we are in the blank canvas. And let's bring in this 3 swim lanes and then attach one more to it, because we don't have a combination of 4 swim lanes together. So we add 3 and then we have this 1 over here. So let's attach the 1 over here since we need 4. Go ahead and draw it, guys. Don't keep watching my screen. I want each one of you to draw with me. Otherwise, you'll forget. And what do you want to title it? This is going to be your process model. So I will keep asking you for inputs. What is the title that you want to give?
Fund transfer process.
Okay, great. Fund transfer process. First actor, customer, goes without saying. Now, second actor onwards, tell me, who do you identify as the second actor?
Banking system or bank.
Yes, good. Banking system or core banking system, same thing. For people who are new to this, you just need to double click on the title and it will give you a option to edit it, okay? If you're struggling with the edit, if you're wondering how I change the title.
Then I think it will be payment gateway.
Great. Payment gateway now. Payment gateway. And then last one.
Compliance team.
Compliance team. Okay, great. So I think we are good to go. You can slightly increase the width so that you get ample of space. So your process flow diagram starts with what symbol? Tell me. Starts with?
The start icon.
Yes. So we have 2 start icons, okay? Any of these you can use, not a problem. I'll go with the round one. Let me make it small. So this will be a revision of what you learned about process models. From here, how do I go?
You go into the customer login into the portal.
Okay. Great. He logs into his account. Then next one.
Bank validates the account.
Validates the account. In the sense?
Uh, Verification or validation.
Review. Generally, to do a fund transfer, you might need to confirm balance.
But let's say at least initiate that. See, he has just logged into his account. How do you know that he wants to do a fund transfer? So
Because we
initiate.
Yeah.
We need to have that. Initiates fund transfer or clicks, we can say. Clicks on fund transfer.
Mm.
Then the next step. What will be the next step? What does the document say? Bank validates. Core banking system validates the account. So which means this should actually come here, isn't it?
Yes.
What's the next step? Payment gateway processes.
The payment gateway. Yeah. Process requests.
Yeah, processes the payment or processes the request. Correct. What else? Funds are settled.
Processes then confirms.
Now, when the payment gateway processes the payment,
yeah, it can either decline or accept the payment depending on, let's say, funds or security. So we need to kind of look at it from that two
so we need
positions.
So there might be a success or a failure. So we have two outcomes. So let's say it's success, then it goes for compliance checks, is it? Tell me if I'm right. If you feel I'm wrong, stop me there.
Yeah, I'm just thinking.
Yeah. It's
because the way I was looking at the payment gateway functions would be in relation to either its fund in relation to balance. If there is enough balance, then the payment gateway will reject the transfer, or it could be another scenario where it is on security. So if it's based on security, then it will go to compliance. But if it is based on funds, then it would go back to the banking system um, to confirm to the client or the customer that we have inadequate funds. So I was looking at it from those two scenarios.
Interesting.
Mm.
If you read the document that I sent, there is an
Okay.
additional page along with
Oh,
it.
okay. I need to read it. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
The second page shows you
Oh, yes.
how the validation of occurs in the fund transfer. Okay, real-time validation. When we say the core banking system validates, what is that validation? We don't have clarity, but it's given in the second page. What is that validation?
Yes.
Critical information is validated. That means the account holder's account is validated to see if it's active or blocked. The recipient's account number and bank details are validated. The balance is checked, sufficient funds. Transaction limit is checked. Compliance and risk screenings are done. Payment gateway status is checked. Customer input validation is done.
Yes.
Everything is checked actually. So I think if it is success, then it settles the funds. And if it fails, then it goes to the compliance.
Yes.
Correct? Is that correct?
So which means the process flow, that diagram that we drew, a very simple one we drew, but it's actually very complex, right? Because if you look at that validates account that I have put over there for the core banking system, there itself we can elaborate that process.
Yes.
Which we have not done so far, because I wanted you to analyze this document and come up with that. So it's not as easy as something that we have drew right now. It is going to be complex, where we will include each of those validation checks, which I just showed you. And there might be a success and failure in all cases. Are you getting me?
Yes. Would this be like a layered process flow? Because we have the level one, which is the fund transfer. Then we can have, let's say, a 1.2, which would be account validation.
Correct.
Then a 1.1 account validation, 1.2 balance check process. And then transaction limit validation, that would also be another layer. Then, okay.
Yes, Taibu, you have got it correct. Nimit and others, are you with me? The reason when I walked you through the case study, I only refer to this first page is I wanted you to realize it when we start drawing it, that there is some information missing. There is some gap. This is what happens when we get information from customer. Customer just says bank validates account, but what is the meaning of that validation? We don't know what, as a customer, I don't know what are the checks the bank performs. So let's say Taivu, in his second meeting with the customer, asked him, okay, what is this validation like? What does this validation look like? And this is the information he got from the customer. They gave him a list of validations that they actually do in the back end. And this gave Taivu further information, after which he created a 1.0 version of his process flow diagram. You see, this is how your requirement documents plus the diagrams that you create will keep on evolving in the project. Okay. So never think the first cut that you have made is the final cut, because there will be more information coming from the customer and you need to probe and ask. If you don't ask, you will end up with a diagram like the one that I just drew. Suppose I take this as the final and say, okay, validates account, payment gateway, processes the fund. The funds can either be transferred or not transferred, a success or a failure. That's it. What I have drawn is a very high level view, which does not give clarity for my development team to code for these business rules. What you're seeing on the screen, guys, are business rules. These business rules have to be documented in your functional requirement document, as well as they should reflect in your process model also as different steps. Step one, account validation, where the sender's account, they check that, and there might be a success and failure over there. Balance check, there might be a success and failure over there. Transaction limit, again, a success or failure. Each and every business rule might have a success end and a failure end. And you have to decide what happens in case of a failure, what happens in case of a success. Everyone with me so far?
Yes, and that will be under the core banking. That will be under the banking system, or that would generally be the banking system, because the payment gateway would have gone through all those business rules before going to the gateway, would it?
So the core banking system will make validations like, the account validation, the balance check, transaction limit, and then the compliance and risk screening, compliance and risk screening is coming over here, if you see.
Yes.
Which ideally means we have to shift
Okay.
the order of the swim lane that we have created.
Yes.
See how we are restructuring. This is how we analyze the information that we get. When we drew the process flow diagram, we drew with the assumption that this is the order. When we consume more information, we realized, okay, we have to shift the order a little. The compliance check comes after all these validations are done, and then the payment gateway comes. You see, that is the order that they have given us.
And where would this customer input validation will come? In which actor area?
Customer input validation, what does it ideally mean? If you read, it is trying to validate whether the Swift code that you have entered is correct or not, whether that exists or not, right? The IFC code, the bank transfer code. This is an input validation.
While submitting the details.
Yes.
While submitting.
Yes. So you can put that as first, because that happens on the screen for us also, right? If we enter a wrong code, it says that not found, bank not found. It gives you that, right? So where we add, let me just show you, where is it?
So for compliance team, there is only one validation, compliance and risk screening, correct?
Yes.
Yes, but there will be several steps of activity that need to go into what the compliance do. So in the case where it says real-time compliance, flagging high risk by countries, by occupation, there will be scenarios for all of those and source of funds. So that means there will be layers. So if there is a compliance risk flagged against country, there will be what needs to be done by the compliance team. And we need to follow that flow and then consider another flow for occupation. And then you get a limit. So for every instance of compliance, we need to have a flow for it.
Is there a possibility that we can see that complex flows if it is readily available?
No, it is not readily available. I want you to see, I'm going to leave this with you guys. I want you to brainstorm and develop this. That's the reason deliberately I went ahead with whatever you were asking me to put in the process flow diagram, so that you realize where you're creating gaps. And this is quite normal in the project, okay? I also used to create a high-level diagram and it's like, oh my God, so many things I've not included. More information came from the customer the next day or the next week, and I updated it, So right now, I don't have the final cut of this diagram. I want you to develop the final cut of this diagram. And I've given you all pointers for that.
Yes. Can we
Right.
create a level 0 where we have every process go in favor of the fund transfer? So
Yeah.
if we so then we can start asking questions of what happens here, which we now have from the page 2. So in this scenario, to be customer logs in, customer enters bank details, and system gateway, banking gateway confirms, payment gateway, it's true, the payment is going through, compliance has checked, it's gone through, then goes back to the client, to the customer, and fund is transfer is approved, and the process ends. So that might be a level 0. So then we will start going into individual processes and start saying, okay, so based on the information we have on the page 2 of the BRD, account validation. Okay, what goes into the account validation? Then we created an expanded version of the account validation process. And then we go into the balance check. That and then so that way we have a level 1, which is this is what would the true scenario will look like. Customer logs in, it goes through all this validation, and fund is transferred. It gives us an opportunity to see the flow and then start imputing those other scenarios. Is that something we could do in real life environment so that we are not,
That's a good idea, Taiwu. But ideally, what I suggest is, I'll show you. Let me bring up this diagram once again. This diagram that we have just created, we have created a high-level diagram. We have not elaborated on validates account, how the payment is processed, we have not validated. High-level diagram, which just documents one error condition, payment processing success or failure, okay? And we'll end the flow here, okay? We will end it over here, saying that, okay, the flow gets over. Now, this is a high-level diagram.
yes.
Now, instead of creating multiple diagrams showing each and every step where the account validation is done, compliance check is done, you always have to do one consolidated diagram which shows all the checks together.
Yes.
Even if you break it up, you can break it up into any number of layers. There's nothing wrong with it. But for your development team to understand, they will always need one consolidated diagram. So instead of doing multiple, draw one high-level diagram like this, which shows the high-level view. The second version of it, you elaborate on the core banking system. What exactly are the checks performed by the core banking system, which is detailed out in that document that I just shared, right? This document. So account validation, where you indicate, okay, he checks for the sender's account, the recipient's account, then the balance check, transaction. So you just need to mention one step. You don't need to write these business rules. These business rules you will document in your FRD. That's it. It has to validate whether the sender's account exists, whether it's active, not blocked. In the process flow diagram, just mention one step account validation. Next, balance check, transaction limit validation. Then it goes to the compliance swim lane, compliance and risk screening. So each of that will have a success and a failure. And that will be a very good document, very good process flow diagram for your technical team to refer.
So we can have basically multiple swim lanes also, correct?
Yeah, of course. Right now also we have multiple swim lanes, right?
No, this particular swim lane is one swim lane of four
Of core
actors,
banking
correct?
system.
Correct. Where four actors are shown, but we can also, if we have to break it up and expand it one by one, then maybe we can have one swim lane showing each actors
There
all,
are no further actors, right? These are the only actors. Don't create
yeah,
actors
these are
of
the
your
only
own.
actors, but
See,
we can pick one by one. like for example, for customer,
Hmm.
we can pick one swim lane,
Hmm.
single swim lane, and show all the validation checkpoints in that swim lane itself.
Um,
And there is a high level view which you have created that is separate, and for each of the actors like customer, banking system, there could be a different swim lanes showing all the validations and the process
yeah,
in
yeah,
that
yeah.
particular.
That's what we said. Yeah, that's what we spoke about. Correct. So you'll be able to create the elaborated flow. Yes.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yes, it's very easy. I want each one of you to take a shot at it. And the next class, then probably we can look at the fully blown process flow diagram and discuss if there are any further corrections to be made to that.
Okay.
Okay. Also, when it comes to compliance check, now this process flow does not end at this. Your home assignment, the scope of your home assignment will be this much. Whatever we have discussed so far, that is the scope of your home assignment. But let me also tell you, when you are doing the core banking system, when you're actually working on this particular project, apart from this account validation check, there will be several other checks also, which is for your knowledge sake, understand when you in the swim lane, when from the core banking system, when you pass it on to the compliance checks, and you are saying that there will be some compliance check. Now, your question to your customer should be, what are these compliance checks? You just can't leave a process model diagram saying that, okay, compliance, risk and compliance checks. And you don't know as a BA, what are these risk and compliance checks? So in a core banking system, various compliance checks are performed during a fund transfer, like the KYC validation, AML, anti-money laundering validation. There is a sanction list screening that is done. I'll send all of this information in an email. Don't worry. Sanction list screening, if is checked, is done to check if the recipient, if the person who's transferring the fund or the person who's receiving is in a global watch list. Okay. There is also a check called as PEP check, politically exposed person check. Okay. So if a person has some political exposure, then that undergoes a different level of screening. Okay, and then the source of fund validation. Some of you might have experienced this. Whenever you have made a fund transfer beyond a particular limit, it might be that you sold some property, or you got some uh, extra funds transferred either by someone or you transferred it to someone. You bought a property. Sometimes bank sent you an email for extra validation to check that what is this transaction that you're making. We would like to have more details about it. Always happens when you make a high value transactions. That's again compliance checks. It's not that you are not allowed to make that transaction, but it's compliance check if there is a high value transaction that's happened. Okay.
Point here.
So compliance checks itself is broken down to several compliance checks. So that particular compliance lane, which now might be looking empty for you with just one box, it will have multiple boxes: KYC, AML, PEP check, sanction list check. So that's how. So the core banking system, guys, is a highly complex system. It's not a very simple system. As a customer, it looks very simple for us because we click the button, we enter the details of the fund transfer to be made, and we forget about it. But internally, there are a lot of business rules. There are highly complex queries running in the background that make that fund transfer possible. That's why I wanted to bring this case study today so that everyone can understand this and also analyze this information as it comes from the customer. Okay.
So I can see where the customer support comes in depending on
Yeah, tell me.
the fund journey.
Hmm.
Um, in scenarios where if there's funds and the client the funds are not the approval is not given,
Hmm.
then and if we want to expand on that, then we would start going into the clients and once getting an a, I would say a denial of transfer can
Yeah.
now contact customer support and
Hmm.
customer
Great,
support
great.
will
Yeah.
now be able, so that's where that um, we can add that additional swim lane, but
Yeah.
that will be far down in the process flow of what
That's
we're
good.
trying to achieve. Yeah.
Yes, that's a very good analysis, Taiwo. Yeah, that's right. There are cases where everything might be correct, all the information and everything. You are not there in any of those PEP list and sanction list, but still the bank has declined the transaction. You might have experienced that, right? No, sometimes the bank just declines the transaction, and you don't know why they have declined, and they've kept a temporary block. Hmm? Then somebody from the support team calls up and says that, have you made this transaction? We just wanted to verify it's a high value transaction. Did you initiate this transaction? That's a double checking that they do. Yes,
In fact, there could be another scenario where the transfer has been initiated, but it has not reached the payee,
hmm,
and the funds are in the middle somewhere.
yeah.
So then also the customer support comes.
Great, great. This is good analysis work, guys. This is good analysis work. Hmm.
Well, would that be out of scope? Do we need to decide what's out of scope at the moment? Because though the problem statement here, it's saying we needed to get a fund transfer process, but we've not actually mentioned where we need to limit the scope to, because that again expands what we need to complete in terms of the swim lane diagram. So,
Yeah.
do we have a scope that we need to work with, or
No,
we should try and
don't include
expand?
customer support for now. It will
Okay,
complicate the diagram. So let's keep
okay,
it a little simple. Don't include
okay,
customer support. Once the diagram is ready, let's see if you would
okay,
like to revise it. Let's look at the diagram first, rather than
okay.
adding so many complexities.
All
Okay.
right.
All others, will you work on this diagram? Even if it's wrong, I showed you a basic cut of a process flow diagram, a high level view. We have to, of course, complete it with these different checks that I showed you, you know, and once the diagram is ready, we can discuss it in the next class. I want you to take a stab at it. Just like how I prepared the high level, you have to just elaborate and add more steps in that core banking system. Okay, everyone will work on that. Priyanka, Abhishek, Neha.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, great. That's great.
Another question is you mentioned that when the swim lanes are being is it for when we're creating, let's say, level zero swim lane, can we, you said we can add like almost like a list of business rules that would ensure that that swim lane goes to the next swim lane, that this needs to be achieved. But we need to, when we are diving deep into each process, we
Hmm.
need to actually be able to show that in the process flow. Is that you? I think you mentioned something similar to that earlier.
Yes. What I
Okay.
mentioned is that in the core banking swim lane, you will be just adding steps, account validation, balance check,
Okay.
transaction limit validation, and then it
Okay.
comes to the compliance swim lane, compliance and risk screening. You're not going to
Okay.
mention those statements. Check if the second sender's account is active. No, you're not going to mention
Okay. 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 All right. Brilliant.
Okay. So now if we look at the second step of this activity, We are spotting the issues, pain points where things typically go wrong. And where do things go wrong? If you see the problem statement that's given, customers are complaining about delays, failed transactions, missing notifications. So these are the areas where things are going wrong, which means the confirmation email or confirmation WhatsApp or message is not going on properly. Some customers receive it, some do not receive, missing notifications. That's a problem area. Failed transactions. That is the at the payment gateway level, there are failures. Okay, the pain points. As you draw this diagram, guys, you will be able to. What I used to do is once my complete diagram is ready, I used to mark those boxes which are pain points. I used to mark it in red color. These are the areas that have to be further investigated. So that's how you keep it in mind. Okay, this is where things go wrong. And once you
Okay.
have marked the pain points, then the to be process becomes very easy. So what you guys will be doing and now as a home assignment where you are elaborating on the core banking system, you will be doing the real-time validation that is required. Real-time validation, which consists of all these account validation and balance checks and all. Okay. And also take pointers from this step number 3, where it is included that auto refund for failures. Now you have to think where exactly you will do an auto refund. I want you to analyze and put it there in the diagram. We will discuss it, whether auto refund makes a sense over there or not. Anywhere automated alerts have to be sent to the customer, include an alert. So you can just show an email icon in the process flow diagram which says that, okay, an alert goes out, or also there is a message icon over there in the process flow diagram. You can show that. So
What does
once
it
you
mean? Automated compliance alert?
automated compliance alerts, like I give you an example, right? Whenever you make a high value transaction, the transaction gets blocked. It doesn't go through. And then the customer support calls you up to check whether you are the real person
Okay.
who initiated the transaction.
So that is a
So,
compliance alert.
yeah. So that's a notification, an additional notification. Everyone doesn't receive that, right? Okay. So now let's move on to today's banking domain training, which will be taken up by Nimit and Taivu. Nimit, you are going to give the presentation first, or Taivu is going to start?
No, no, I will be starting it. And
Fine, then I'll
so,
spotlight you. Okay.
so hello everyone. Myself is Nimit Mohindru. So I'll just start out with a little bit of introduction. Well, I have over 15 years of diversified experience across digital marketing, sales and business development, performance marketing, account management, marketing funnels, and automation. Having worked across, EdTech, health tech, performance marketing agencies, and with coaches and consultants. So, my basically strengths lies in building sales funnels, driving performance marketing campaign, automated marketing processes, and all. Right. So, I'm also one of the learners of business analyst community led by Sadhna. So, first of all, I want to clear that I'm not an expert on investment banking, but I'm here to present and share some information, some knowledge and insights over investment banking. And with me, I have my teammate, Mr. Taiwo. So he will also be covering certain parts of the presentation in between, right? So let's start with it now. So have you ever wondered who helps companies like Google or Tesla raise billions overnight, or who advises governments on mega deals that reshape industries, right? That is where investment banking comes in. It's basically the engine that fuels big deals, mergers, IPOs, and cross-border investments. And as business analysts, understanding how this industry works gives you an edge in analyzing financial strategies, corporate structures, and market dynamics. So today, basically, we will explore certain investment banking step by step, what it is, how it works, key players, career paths, and the latest industry trend shaping the future. I hope the agenda is clear over here, right? I'm just going to share my screen. Yeah. Is everyone able to see the screen?
Yes, we can.
So let's start with it. First, let's get to know what is investment banking. So it is basically a specialized segment of banking only for raising capital and complex deals. It's it provides basically advisory services for mergers, acquisitions, and restructuring. Investment banks play a crucial role in financial markets by bridging the gap between investors and firms seeking funds for growth. So all of us are aware about, IPOs and mergers and acquisitions and all that, all these big, terms we have heard of. So all this comes under investment banking. That is all about handled by investment banks, right? What are the core functions of investment bankings are underwriting and issuing securities, which is also known as capital raising also, right? So capital raising and underwriting and issuing securities is one of the same thing. Then mergers and acquisitions advisory, which is also one of the core functions. Sales and trading is another, and then wealth and asset management. Okay, so these are basically four core functions which you can have a note of. And on the right hand side, you can see a pie chart over here, which basically shows how much percentage holds by each of these functions. So as we can see that M&A advisory holds the maximum of it, which is like 40%. And the underwriting is also which is known as capital raising. So whatever we hear the news and big stories of fundraising billions of dollars and all those are that is basically 30% of function of the investment banking. 20% is sales and trading, and 10% is asset management, wealth and asset management, which basically it is a knowledge for me also while I was researching. So I thought wealth and asset management would be higher, not just 10% of the investment banking, but it comes down to 10% only, right? So now we can dig a little bit more deeper into each of these functions, that how it works and what exactly it is. So, for example, underwriting in securities issuance, when a company wants to raise money by selling securities like stocks or bonds, investment banks underwrite the issuance. So that is what underwriting and securities issuance is all about in simple terms, right? How it works is the bank buys the security from the issuer, company or government at a set price. Then it sells them to investors through IPOs, bond offerings. If the market does not absorb them fully, the bank bears the risk. So here the risk bearer is basically the bank, because bank is basically buying the securities from the company, right? And then it sells them to investors. When we basically buy the IPOs, so here the bank basically bears the risk. Why it's a core function? Because it's a part of capital raising, which is one of the four main pillars, as I mentioned earlier also, one of four core functions of investment banking alongside M&A, advisory, trading, and wealth. Without underwriting, companies would struggle to connect directly with large pools of investors at scale. So when the companies goes into public and people, invest at very large scale, so it is not possible because of without this, right? Without this core function of investment bank. Some examples are here, like Facebook IPO, which was in 2012. Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, and Goldman Sachs acted as underwriters, right? So here I have put certain examples also so that you can relate it, with the real time incidents happened in the past. Bond issuances, governments and corporations rely on investment banks to issue bonds to global investors, right? So I hope with this, a little bit clarity would be there about underwriting securities issues. Till then, if everybody is, getting some information, just raise your hands or show thumbs up, anything. And so I'll move to the next part.
Question.
Mergers and
Question.
yeah,
Sorry,
yeah.
before you move ahead, one question, Nimit. Can you elaborate a little on underwriting, what exactly it is?
Okay, Nimit, let me take that.
Underwriting is basically, sorry.
Let me take that. So underwriting, I would use the best way that I think everyone can agree. If you want to, in terms of, and we will relate it to raising funds. If you want to insure your vehicle, it goes through the underwriters, and the underwriters would give you a quote. And then, so if you think about if your car is worth 80,000 and you want to have a full insurance on your vehicle, they might say, we can insure you for 4,000 a year, which you pay over the 12 months of you insuring the vehicle. So when underwriting in IPO go as well, is a group of banks. In this case, Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan will come together and review that company, look at the projections, do almost a SWOT analysis, and with their actuaries in-house to estimate what the value of each stock would be, so that then when they go into the market to either sell those shares, they know they have I would say, product market fit, where most of the time they will be able to get buyers, especially if the product is hot, as it was when Facebook got an IPO. So does that help to just explain what underwriting is in a layman's way?
Hmm.
So underwriting is basically a capital raising only, but underwriters are something, which are with the banks only, with the investment bank. So that is a kind of a position only over there. So when it is mentioned like how it works, the bank buys the security from the issuer is like the underwriters are acting on behalf of the bank, right?
Yes. Yes.
So I think that is what it is all about. Other than this, I am also not aware of much about
No,
this
thank you so
particular.
much. Thank you, Taibu. Thank you, Nimit, for that. This terminology underwriting, everyone here might not be familiar with. That's the reason I
Yeah.
raised this question.
Okay.
Because if we
Definitely.
move on as assuming that underwriting is known to everybody, it will be like a gray area
Okay.
for most of the people
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Underwriting
What I got to know is that underwriting and securities issuance is one term which is also known as capital raising, right? So it
yes.
is
Yes.
mainly about raising capital, raising funds for the companies or the governments.
Yes.
Mhm.
Go
Shall
ahead.
we move? So the next part, mergers and acquisitions are being taken care by Taibu. So Taibu,
Okay.
please comment
So
into.
again, thank you, Mr. Nemeth. And just to that was why I was explaining underwriting in the layman's way, because I am not an investment banker, and this is down to what we're presenting today is down to the
Would like to be
information
investment
that
banker. Sorry.
information we have sourced and researched. So mergers and acquisition, the way the role investment bank plays in mergers and acquisition is by advising companies on buying, selling, merging or restructuring businesses or buying other business. So how does this work? So a bank or a company identifies a potential target market or buyer. They do their pitch to them and they advise that company on would it be okay to purchase that business. They conduct evaluations using methods like DCF, which is discounted cash flow, comparables, and precedent transactions. They negotiate terms between both companies. So company A wants to buy company B. What are the terms? They will structure the deal if the business doesn't become um, cash flow in the next couple of years. This is how much percentage we will reduce the payouts. So they make those kind of deals and they support regulatory approvals. That's why sometimes we hear of deals taking two, 3 years before it can be rubber stamped, even though it was announced a couple of years back. And they assist with due diligence to uncover, I would say, most risk. It didn't happen way back. I think in America, I've forgotten the name of the company that went bankrupt because they didn't do their full due diligence. I can't. The name is skipping me. So why it's a core function? It creates value for shareholders through synergies and growth. So as we know, if a company buys another company, the shares could either grow or decline. So these are part of the risk that's been analyzed by investment banks to ensure that shareholders get the best value. It helps company expand, diversify, or streamline operations. Again, depending on what the appetite and what the growth and objectives of every business is, it can achieve those. And it provides expert guidance on complex and high value deals. All of this is done by investment banking. Also, examples of this is Disney acquiring Marvel in 2009, which was advised by Merrill Lynch, and Amazon acquiring Whole Foods in 2017. Goldman Sachs does this advice. Now, we're going to go just a little bit into why mergers and acquisition can be a good thing and why mergers and acquisition can be a negative. So let's look at the more popular one. Disney acquiring 21st Century Fox, Microsoft acquiring LinkedIn, and Facebook acquiring Instagram. So these are really big deals and these are very known brands to us. So what are the positives? Positives in this occasion will be content expansion. As we know, Microsoft has now gone way deep into LinkedIn Learning and again streaming power as well. Disney has, with the reach of Fox, Disney has now almost a very large footprint within that market space with different markets. And then now they can also be a market leader in that space. It's not working as much if we look at the Disney brand, but if we look at all other acquisitions that that's gone on under Disney, we can see how much of a market leader they are. So the negatives here will be that human capital issues, which mostly will be layoffs. On average, when a merger and acquisition happens, it's been confirmed that almost 7.2% of employers are made redundant. So this is a big issue. So whenever I hear of um, mergers and acquisition, my heart goes out to some people because I know that it's going to be negative news over there. Again, another challenge it brings is integration challenges from one system to the other. Again, this is negative for the business, but it's very positive for anyone working in the project space, BAs included, project managers included. So this is a good job opportunity as well. And then there are regulatory risk and legal risk because when one brand is being absorbed there are different situations that would happen in terms of what terms and condition one client has before the company was bought over. So those are the kind of teething pains that they go through. Most of the time, investment banks usually just advise on the higher level and not go too deep into what does this client require or what does this market require the most. They only look at it as what we can achieve from making this deal a success. So again, when we think of mergers and acquisition, we have to also think of how that can be of benefit to us and how that can be of detriment to others in that regard. So I'll pass it back to Nimit to continue.
Okay, so the next core function is sales and trading, which is markets and risk management. This is a little bit tricky and it's not, it did not get very much clear, but still I would try to make it clear over here. Facilitating buying and selling of securities, derivatives, and other instruments for clients while also managing risk. So banks basically act as intermediaries between institutional investors, hedge funds, pension funds, and corporates. They provide market making services and ensuring liquidity by being ready to buy, sell securities. They offer hedging solutions using derivatives, forex, commodities to manage financial risk, sometimes engage in proprietary trading through heavily regulated since 2008. Why its support function ensures efficient markets with liquidity and fair pricing, enables clients to manage exposure to interest rates, currencies, and commodities, generates significant revenue for banks through commissions, spreads, and fees. So examples are like JP Morgan Trading Desk executes large-scale foreign exchange trades for multinational corporations. Goldman Sachs Commodity Trading helps energy firms hedge oil and gas price risk. So this particular area or function of investment banking is not did not get very much clear to me. Taiwo, do you have any other idea you want to explain this? If you have got any more information on this, or we can move on.
No, we can move on from this. Just to point out that when it comes to go back to the slide, when it comes to sales and trading, buying and selling of securities, I think what we need to understand is understanding what securities is and what derivatives are, because and other instruments, because this is mainly in assisting, I would say, countries in terms of trying to expand, or if a country needs to um, have like projects in place, they sell securities to ensure that if a project like where I live, the government can decide, okay, we want to build bigger infrastructures, and investment banks help the government in sourcing those funds. And that's why they help in the buying and selling of securities. So we have to think of what securities are, derivatives, and again, other instruments in raising capital. So all of this in sales and trading is more to raise capital for companies and for countries.
So next is wealth and asset management. I think it is very much clear by its name also that it's all about portfolio management for HNIs and institutions. Like we have seen, mutual funds and pension funds and insurance companies, right? So all comes under this wealth and asset management services offered by investment banks. So it offers customized financial advice, estate planning, and investment strategies for wealthy individuals and families also. And asset management like pools funds from institutional clients to invest in equities, bonds, real estate and alternatives. Many times we have seen that, institutional clients have invested heavily into stock market, and when they pull the money, then it affects the market badly, right? So all this comes under this. Banks charge management fee based on asset under management AUM, right? Uh, we also check AUM whenever we are, considering any mutual fund or any small cases and all those things, whatever funds are available. So we also check AUM for that, right? So why it's a core function provides long-term stability and recurring revenues for banks, builds strong client relationships through trust and performance, plays a key role in global capital allocation and wealth preservation. So examples are like UBS Wealth Management, world's largest wealth manager serving high net worth clients in Europe and Asia. BlackRock is a very known name, right? So AUM is greater than $10 trillion, shows the scale of institutional asset management. Right? So all the big companies, if you see, there would be a BlackRock investment would be behind it, right? So that is all about wealth and asset management. So this was the last core function of investment banking.
Just,
Now,
uh,
importance of investment banking for business analysts.
just a minute,
Now,
Nimit, before you go ahead.
yeah,
Just go back to the previous slide.
okay,
I think this functionality should be very, very clear to everybody because this is very simple to understand. It does not include any securities or any kind of a
yeah,
trading. Wealth and asset management, as the name suggests, banks help high net worth individuals like we can talk about the Ambanis or maybe the royal families or organizations. It might be companies or high net worth individuals. Banks help them manage their investments. They will not be able to manage their assets on their own, so they give advisory services to these large organizations or high net individuals, where they say that, okay, this is how your funds should be routed, these are the assets you can acquire, this will give you more profit, and the other one will, it's not giving you profit, so sell it off. So wealth and asset management, very, very simple to understand, other than the areas that we discussed.
yeah,
What we are seeing is, guys, with this domain knowledge, when you enter into a business analyst role, when you give interviews, you should be comfortable enough to portray at least the services that an investment bank provides. Okay. Now, if you're applying for a senior BA position, if they're looking for a domain SME, then of course you need to go much, much deeper than this. Okay. But if you are being selected as an entry level BA for a banking project, this ground level information about what an investment bank provides will give you a very good starting point. So that's the reason, for each of these slides, take notes, guys. Take as much notes, because this, if you go and check in Google, Google will give you loads of information. What Nimit and Taivu here has done, they have crystallized all that information, and just the bulleted points that are required for you to know, which are very simple to understand, they have brought it in these slide. Okay, so definitely take notes and ask questions as you go ahead. Thank you. You can go
thank
ahead,
you, Tasmana.
Nimit.
Thank you. So next is importance of investment banking for business analysts. So how, investment banking is important for business analysts and how it basically uh, fits basically as a, as a industry basically for business analysts, isn't it? So, for example, it enables data-driven strategic decisions. So that is where, the role of business analyst comes into picture, correct? It provides critical market and deal intelligence. So, business analyst role is basically, relates to some business intelligence also, BI, correct? So that is where the intelligence can be applied. So that investment banking could be a perfect industry for aspiring business analysts. Supports valuation, financial modeling, and analysis. So business analysts depend on investment bankers' data. So investment bankers have data and valuation models to help organizations evaluate transaction, guide M&A, and make capital structure decisions with confidence. Whatever we have seen earlier, the core functions which investment banking has. So business analysts basically can help or can play a pivotal role into it, right? Now, how investment banks impacts businesses. So, as we have already run through, that it raises capital for company growth and innovation, boost company valuation and foster expansion, support job creation and market entry. So, here in the chart, if you would see that what investment banks have done, how it has impacted businesses. So, capital raising is one of the functions. So you can see that, $10 billion is basically capital which is raised. I'm sure it would be higher than this. Sounds less actually to me. Then valuation change is $5 billion. Job creation is 30,000 job. Market expansion is 15 countries. So here, if you would relate it, it basically it shows the roles, also the functions of the investment bank, that how it impacts the businesses it works with. Investment banks works with certain various businesses, various industries, right? So how it impacts them. So it creates value by unlocking capital, increasing company valuation via M&A, and supporting job and market expansion, right? So this is for now the critical part of the career paths and industry trends in investment banking is. So first of all, there are dynamic roles into it. It goes from analyst to the managing director also. So as you can see, there are four roles which are mentioned over here. So the role of basically analyst is like research, modeling, and pitch books. Associate role is client communication, coordination. VP deals in deal structuring, managing teams. MD is strategy, client relationship, high level negotiations. So a business analyst can start with analyst and can, aim for being an MD of the bank, of the investment banking company. So careers in investment banking progress from analyst to senior role. Modern bankers need data skills, fintech awareness, and ESG knowledge. So ESG is basically environmental, social, and government, basically, right? So all this knowledge should be there with the BA. Okay, so demand is also rising globally and across emerging markets, right? So the basically the BA role should be emphasized on analytics, fintech, and ESG trends. So this is basically specifically for the investment banking, right? That is why it is mentioned like fintech. Okay. But data skills are like common. Fintech awareness is especially for fintech companies and all that. And ESG is also for basically ESG also fits into other industries also, but it also fits into the investment banking as well. All right. Then these are some of the world's most prestigious investment banking firms. She is known for special expertise and a strong international clientele across tech, energy, government, and corporate. So this slide I have added just to give a list of certain investment banks we all would like to work with. So fortunately, if we get a chance, right? So they are. It is also mentioned what they are known for basically. So here you would mainly primarily you would find most of these banks are having those four core functions which we have talked about, right? Then demand for BAs post AI emergence because we are now into AI world. So I could not miss this part to add on actually that how AI, so basically AI increases complexity and opportunity as well, both at the same time in finance. And it is, I mean, in finance, it actually boomed a lot. It actually created a lot of opportunity and all that, and obviously complexity. So BA roles in investment banking have rapidly grown from 2021 to 2025. Trend will accelerate through 2030 also. AI adoption has sharply increased the need for business analysts to extract insights, automate processes, and drive value. So this trend is expected to accelerate, making BA a critical role in banking. So if you talk about industry trends, then fintech and AI, automation and trading, robo-advisors, ESG investing, sustainability, driving decisions, globalization, cross-border deals in emerging markets, and data-driven analytics, big data, predictive modeling, right? So as you can see in the graph also that it is going way up through 2021 to 2030. So I think this is best good time for BAs to aspire and aim for, right? Essential skill sets for success in the BA area is the first is financial modeling, data analytics, Excel, Python, SQL. Second, investment banking, product market knowledge, like what we are also doing right now. Communication, presentation, stakeholder management, regulatory and compliance awareness, and adaptability to tech, AI automation, right? So that equals to success if we are able to acquire all these essential skill sets of this. Thank you very much for uh, listening, and I hope we have been able to add some value to this presentation, right? Thank you very much. I'm just stopping the sharing, right? Right, ma'am? Can I?
Yes, yes. Thank you so much, Nimit. Thank you. Thank you, Taiwu. Thank you, Nimit. Thank you. A wonderful, brilliant presentation. Very good job done.
Thank
All
you.
the complex information about investment banking, you had put it in a very, very simple and
In fact,
concise way. Hmm?
by making this, we ourselves got motivated.
Yeah, yes. See, how many times we just tell ourselves that we don't know anything about this particular domain. But the more
Yeah,
we read, and the more curiosity develops, and then you dig deeper,
yeah,
isn't it?
correct,
That's
correct.
how, as a BA, you have to be curious. You
Yeah,
can't say, I don't know this, I will not get into this domain.
correct, correct.
Now is the trend where you have to be very adaptable, guys. If you're not adaptable,
Correct.
you'll be left far behind.
Yeah, I've never got this much into detail into this investment banking domain. I am always afraid of this investment banking. I
Ah,
find it
we're
very
all,
complex actually.
yes, yes.
The
But when you,
securities and all that. No?
correct. We get scared with those jargons, but when we dig deeper, we get simplified information. Now, with the use of AI, it has become more crisp and clear. AI will, if you don't understand an answer that ChatGPT gives you, you ask ChatGPT to make it simpler. And if you still don't understand, ask him to make it more simpler. Ask him to give you more examples with respect to it, and that's how you drill down further into the information. For example, I was explaining that asset management services,
Asset management.
how banks help high net worth individuals. If you still don't understand, you can ask ChatGPT, okay, just create a small case study and tell me about how a bank will help a high net individual. Assume that I am a high net worth individual, and how it will help me allocate assets in the right direction or help me manage my investments. Create a small case study, create a small story, and tell me. People understand stories, isn't it?
Yeah.
So this helps you. See, this is how you need to acquire domain knowledge, guys. Don't do a Google. Google will make you crazy. Okay, just get more and more information using AI. Gone are the days when we had to, for us to gain domain knowledge, we had to read through books, or Google was always there, but either Google or books. But now with AI, use AI tools to get that information and ask AI to make it more simpler for you. If you don't understand, make it more simpler. I don't understand. I don't get it. What are you saying? Tell him. You can talk to AI as if it's your friend, right? So say that, create a case study out of this. I want more clarity. I'm not clear on this. And then what? When you get into an interview with that level of clarity, uh, you will be picked up for a banking project. So whenever you see job description that says that, okay, we are looking for someone who can work with us on a banking project, and they might have not asked a whole lot of banking experience. They might be asked, knowledge of certain banking instruments or products are required. Okay, you can very well apply for that by reading and learning information. If they are looking for a domain SME, they will indicate in the job description, we are looking for someone who has worked for 15 years in a bank and has worked with XYZ products, banking products. Then, of course, then they will ask you hardcore knowledge of those specific banking products. That goes without saying. But otherwise, to apply for other positions which require just a preliminary information on the uh, banking domain, this information is enough for you to get a starter. Okay, and that also gives me an idea. How about doing another presentation where we drill into one area of investment bank, one area? We'll talk about that offline, and let's see how AI is changing that area. Let's use artificial intelligence and see how banks are using AI in that specific area to create better applications, to finish their work much faster, but make their work much more simpler. Let's do a
Actually,
research on
after
that.
the actually after the emergence of AI, a lot of fintech startups have come.
Hmm.
So it is adding a lot of value to the finance sector.
Yes.
So I'm sure, but how it is adding, what it is adding, that maybe
Yes,
we
that's
can
something that we have to
dig
find out.
deeper into.
We have to dig deep.
Like you basically explained it, how the fund process goes, right?
Hmm.
Although we do it on daily basis, but we don't do it
Yeah.
this way.
Yes. Hmm. So just like, in the first slide, I stopped you with the word underwriting because I knew many of you, many of the people here might be having a question mark, but they're not asking what is underwriting and what is that process actually. So that's the reason I asked that particular question of underwriting. Now, again, like I said, when you find information about the domain, you might come across these kind of terminologies which you might not be familiar. So ask the AI tool itself, can you just explain what this underwriting is all about? And can you explain with the help of an example, how what is these underwriting services provided by the bank? And then you get clarity on it. Things have become much simpler than it used to be before. So there's no need for us to be overwhelmed that we have to get into a new domain and learn that entire domain. You have to just be adaptable. Keep that fear out of the door. That's it. The fear that keeps knocking in your head, keep it out of the door because you have AI as your companion now.
Fearless.
Yes. Every skill is a learnable skill. That's what I have learned in my life. Everything is learnable. There's nothing that you can't learn and do. And you already explained, Nimit, the kind of opportunities that we have in investment bank. For any one of you who are tapping investment bank opportunities, the list that Nimit showed about the banks, very, very important for you. Those are the banks that you should start tapping if you're interested in working with them. They are one of the topmost banks in the world.
They are dream companies that hard to get entry.
No, there's nothing like hard to get into. You can. Their jobs are in LinkedIn. You can find so many opportunities of JP Morgan in LinkedIn. You'll find Barclays opportunities. They are posted there. Okay. Okay, so that brings us to the end of today's session. Uh, if anyone has any questions, you can ask. Otherwise, I'm going to stay back with Tanya for her doubts, and others can log off. Does anyone has any questions? Nimit, Taiwu, Priyanka, Neha, any questions for me?
Question, I think, Taibu, but we have a question related to the project.
Okay, no project-related questions we'll discuss in the project bootcamp because it will get confusing for everyone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So
So
we're
tomorrow,
signing off.
remember, Nimit, Taiwu, a requirement gathering session has been scheduled with the stakeholder. So he will be there, and I believe your questions are ready. And I'm going to see how
Yes.
you're going to facilitate the
With
requirement.
related to that only we had a question actually.
That's okay. That's okay. We'll discuss tomorrow. Before he
Okay.
jumps in, we will discuss. We'll have some
Okay.
time before he comes for the requirement
Okay.
gathering.
Okay. Okay.
Okay then. All right then.
Fine then.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Good night, everyone. Thank
Good
you very
night.
much.
And
Signing off. Bye.
thank you so much, and good night for